Okay, so welcome to the 2022 AGM for the PCF. My name is Julie Duff. I'm the chair of the Parent Carer Forum, and we're here today to go through some of the work that we have done last year and look forward to the work that we're going to be doing next year. As mentioned, please do put something in the chat. If you've got any questions or any suggestions or any improvements or anything that you'd like us to discuss next year, that would be perfect. Right, I'm going to go back and share my screen and take you through the actual formal report. So it has been yet another busy year this year, and we have seen growth of the PCF in Cheshire West and Chester, which is fantastic. We've gone from 400 to over 530 members, which is just brilliant, and we need to keep growing and hearing more and more people's views and opinions so that we can affect change here in Cheshire West and Chester. Excuse me. But in this last 12-month period, we have finally been inspected by the well, it's the Ofsted and CQC are the two of the HM inspectors, that like legs that came to inspect Cheshire West and Chester. And the work that was actually taken out by the PCF over that 12-month period was actually acknowledged by Will Quince, the Children and Families Minister. Now, I'm not quite sure what position he currently holds, but I believe he is back in Cabinet or back in the government. But it was lovely to see that your voices were represented in the HM inspector's report, and that actually the work that had been done by the Parent Carer Forum was acknowledged by Will Quince. You know, it makes all that hard work and all that pushing to make sure your voices are heard, you know, really quite satisfying. So just to take people back to actually what the role of the PCF is, I think it's important to remind people what we do and where we fit in. So the role of the PCF, excuse me again, we're a representative body for parents and carers who have children and young people with special educational needs and disabilities. And we're actually a part of the national network of parent carer forums, of which there are 152 local forums across the whole of the UK, and they represent the local authorities. So here in Cheshire, you've got Cheshire West and you've got Cheshire East. You've also then got one over in Holton, you've got a Liverpool, you've got a Wirral. So it is very much local authority boundaries. That's how it's actually set up. And the role of the national network of parent carer forums is to sit alongside the government ministers to ensure that our voices are actually being heard. And that's really important at the moment, considering that there is a schools white paper and a schools send green paper that is actually going out. And we're funded by the Department for Education. They give grants of £17,500 a year to each forum. And this grant is monitored by a national charity called Contact. They used to be called Contact a Family. And they have quite a rigorous process of grant monitoring. So every forum who is awarded that £17,500 has to go through quite a, as I say, rigorous grant monitoring process to see whether or not their funds have been spent appropriately, whether or not they've got enough reach, whether or not they're kind of covering the right kind of topics, whether or not they are reaching the hard to reach families. All of this has to be documented and sent through as part of that grant process. And I'm delighted to let you all know that we have been awarded our grant again for the next academic year, which enables us to now start planning and ensuring that we can get our forums up and running. So to give you a little bit of a breakdown of how we spent our money this year, we spent it quite differently to how we have on previous years, because we've took the bold step to employ the wonderful Sarah, who is our finance and events coordinator. So she has been responsible for making sure that our forums are booked and we've got speakers. She's also done the majority of the admin around managing every forum that we've done. So that could be sending out the Zoom meetings through to making sure that everything is organised, minutes are taken. She's been an absolute godsend, to be fair, and that's allowed our volunteers to be able to attend more meetings so that we can actually have a greater reach. So she's also responsible for the financials. So she keeps a very close track on what it is that we're spending. And last year, our two biggest costs are exactly what they should be. So our biggest cost is her, which is £5,000 a year. And the second, very closely running second, is our events. So those events are anything from our forums through to some of our training as well that we've actually been running. So the events are the 3 in-person forums that we ran. Some of the training costs there are actually absorbed into that as well. So that's hiring of venues and things like that. We've also have our new website, and that is an ongoing cost to maintain that every year. And we have development of information and resources. So that's things like marketing materials, that's things like development of the volunteer network. And then obviously we have our expenses, our parent carers expenses, and the majority of that has been spent on things like printing costs and occasionally the odd petrol cost, although most of our meetings have been done online this year. Anybody, please, stop me if you've got any questions or put something in the chat. So we managed to spend money this year, which is fantastic. In previous years, if you don't spend the money, then basically you're awarded an underspend, so you can carry that money over to the following year, but you won't get the full grant for the following year. Excuse me. Do apologise, guys. So, damn this COVID lot. So anyway, so how do we actually work as a Cheshire West Parent Carer Forum? Well, with the growth in members, the work and influence of the PCF within the borough, we took a decision last year. This is partly what we discussed this time last year at our AGM, was about how we would restructure to make sure that we were being efficient as we could with resources, and make sure that we were representing your views as far and wide as we possibly could with the volunteers that we have, because we are all parent volunteers. So we took a decision to restructure, and this is how we did it. So we've got our PCF steering group, which is chaired by myself, and we meet bi-monthly, and we have a number of our parent reps who sit on that steering group, and they have a whole cross-section of backgrounds themselves in terms of representation. So we have families who've got children with Down syndrome, which is mine. We have parents who've got children with complex needs, global development delays, autism, cerebral palsy. There is a whole mix. So we're quite proud that we can offer that voice and that range of voice at our steering group. And alongside us on that steering group, we have all of the professionals. And so we have professionals who come from education. We have Mark Nixon, Paul Arista and others from education who sit on that board. We also have commissioning, so Angela Lewis, health, Jill Tyler. We also have Emma Walker from the Live Well website, and Sarah Banks in social care. So we all kind of, whichever corners of the NHS or local authority education social care that we need to have those regular conversations with, they are all invited to our steering group, and we meet with them on a bi-monthly basis, as well as the additional meetings that we have with them. We also have a parent care and management group, and these are the group of doers, and we meet monthly. So we're the ones that are actually running the forum, the purpose of those meetings is to make sure that we are feeding back from all the meetings that we attend. If there's so, for instance, I went to a supported internship meeting. At the next parent management meeting, I'll give you updates about what was actually said and discussed at that. And also we talk about what are the key themes that are coming through. And we're the ones that are responsible for making sure that we're setting the agenda for the next 12 months, and we're making sure that we're actually getting forums up and running, and we're answering questions and queries that are coming in from families. So that's the kind of like the doing group. This year, really proud to say that we also have a team on the ground out there in our schools. So we have representatives in 7 of our special schools, and we would like more. So if people are interested in joining that, especially that in the mainstream, because we're not well represented at the moment in mainstream, and I'll talk in a minute about how we're going to hopefully achieve that for next year. But what we want to do is make sure that our special schools are represented. So this is a new role, and their role is to run coffee events, to let parents know about us, to share our forums, and also just to let us know, you know, if there's some things that common themes that are coming through from when they're meeting with parents that they think need to be fed back. And we can make sure that we do that through the network of our parent voice and our steering group and our parent management group. We can make sure that those messages and those common themes are actually being fed back. And then the final role is our parent voices rep role. And these are the reps that go to all the meetings. So we have people who are representatives. There's just few, just not all, this isn't an exhaustive list, but on autism work stream, we've got supported internship, we've got an early years focus group, there's the Live Well website, there's a SEND strategy group, preparation for adulthood, the Disability Partnership Board. So all of our parent volunteers who have put their hands up to say, yeah, well, we're happy to attend these meetings, represent the parents' views, and make sure that our voices are being heard, and hopefully make changes. Well, it's all about making changes so the system and the process and the experience that you guys are receiving is better. That's what we're here to do. So that's the parent voices rep. So we've now structured ourselves in a way that we can reach a wider range of areas and a wider range of topics with our new structure. So what was new for this year? New for PCF this year was that we did our survey. Our last survey of this ilk was in 2018. And then we did a COVID survey in 2020. And I mean, I really can't tell you how proud I am of it for a number of reasons. One is the structure of it. We managed to get a market researcher who's also a dad to come and help us make sure that we were asking the right questions, the structure was in the right place, so we could do detailed analysis after we got all the information back. And that's been proven to be incredibly useful, because some of the professionals have come back and say, well, actually, we'd like to know some of this information that you've got in your survey, some of the results of this information. How does that split by postcode? And are all these people in mainstream schools, or are they in special schools? And we can manipulate the data to make sure that we're answering those questions. So it's really useful and really meaningful. So that's one reason I'm proud about it. The second reason I'm proud about it is that 539 of you took the time to fill it in, and it was a chunky document. And it took a good 10-15 minutes to complete, and could be quite soul searching as well in places. And you did it, and you shared it, and you contributed. And so that blows me away that we've got 540 of you, or 539 of you, who managed to do that for us. And the third, and possibly the biggest reason, is that information has been used and has actually been inputted and directly quoted from within the inspection that happened in February, March this year. And, that's what it's all about, collecting your voices and collecting your opinions to make sure that we're influencing change and we're holding people to account is absolutely why 539 of you filled that in. And there is a direct correlation between what you said and what was in the recommendations from Her Majesty's inspectors, which is, you couldn't ask for more than that. So I'm absolutely thrilled to bits that we managed to do that. So that's the first stage. The next stage is we need to keep making sure that accountability continues, and we need to make sure that we continue to be at the top table and your views continue to be heard and listened. So after this meeting, this report will be sent out, and there is a link in here to our final report, and there is also a link in here to the government inspection report, so you can take a look and you can see the parallels that have been drawn. But excuse me again, guys. The other new for 2022 is our website. So we literally launched it this time last year, and we have seen the numbers and the visits pretty much just take a massive incline like that. So this is the place that you need to go to have a look for all of our past forums that we've run, that have been recorded like this. Any information that you're looking for in terms of what's been included in our newsletters, obviously information about what's coming up, and information about our survey and whatever else. We've also got all of our role descriptions on there. So, you know, do go and take a look. And again, it's there for you to go and click through once you receive this afterwards. As I've mentioned, we've had our new administrator, Sarah, come on board, and we can't thank her enough for her professionalism. She really has organised us all and got us knowing what we're doing, which is fantastic. Volunteer training. We had the opportunity to rerun some of the training that we had run when we became an independent PCF back in 20, Esty will tell me the date, 16, 17. And that was great. So we ran a 6-week course, and we've got some fantastic new volunteers who are really committed. And it was an opportunity for the professionals to come and present to us again and tell us what they're doing, and give us an idea about what their plans are for the future, what organisation structures are changing, etc., etc. So it's a really valuable exercise, and we've now got those resources. That means that we can run that again. So it's not something that we can just do for this year. We can potentially run it in years to come too. We've also we set up something called the third sector meeting. So the third sector, for those of you who don't know that kind of terminology, it's basically the charities in our area who support children with special educational needs and disabilities. And we're doing a bi-monthly meetings with those guys. And we've got the likes of Down Syndrome Cheshire, CHAPS, Tiny Steps, Deafness Network, Space, Live, Disability Positive, and a number of them. We thought there was a gap to making sure that we were pulling everybody together and doing some joined up thinking. So, you know, we were working alongside those guys to make sure that we can develop services, we can make sure that we can signpost people, we can put hopefully like summer provisions and future Christmas provisions together, so everybody knows what everybody else is doing. And that's been really, really valuable. It also means that we can invite some of the professionals to come along and explain to those charities some of the changes and some of the work that's taking place here in Cheshire West and Chester. It's another opportunity to be able to make sure people know what's going on. So, you know, I'm really looking forward to seeing how that grows over the next 12 months. What's new for this year as well is the Send Green paper. For those of you who have been following this, it launched in March, excuse me. And basically, it's the government's green paper to look at making suggestions about changes to the current SEND system. We've agreed to, I've worked alongside our local authority and our CCG to put a joint Cheshire West and Chester response back to the government with regards to that. And then we've also worked with our parent carers to get their views and opinions. And we held a focus group yesterday to talk about what are your opinions, what are your recommendations, how do you feel about, you know, some of the things that they're suggesting about potential compulsory mediation and about a list of schools that's going to be provided by local authority. What are your views and opinions on this? So we held quite a robust session yesterday, which all of our recommendations and our ideas and our comments will now be put together. We're going to share it with the third sector because the third sector have been involved, and we're going to send that through as a parent carer forum response to the government consultation by the closing date, which will be the 22nd of July is the closing date, and I'm hoping to get that together by the 18th of July and send it through to the government. Okay, so focus for next year. Co-production has to be in everything. So we want to be at the top table so we can influence and shape the services that come out of the Inspector's Action Plan. So that will be attending things like the SEND Strategy Group meeting, which disappointingly is happening at this very moment. There is a clash, but it doesn't mean to say I do go to them on a regular basis. So I can't be there today because I'm here. But it's making sure that we understand what their action plans are and how they're going to address the recommendations that came out in that inspection report. And we've also asked our steering group to tell us what consultations they've got coming up next year. And we've put a calendar of consultation in place so that we know what's going to be expected of our parents if there are consultations coming up, and to try not to overload them at certain points of the year, and also to give the local authority an overview of what they think is going on, so that, again, there isn't a clash from social care and carers, for argument's sake, running a consultation at the same time, that we've got an overview of actually what's going to go on. Membership, we want to continue to grow our membership to get a broad range of families' views, and we want to do this by continuing to work with partnerships, having our coffee events, having our virtual and our in-person kind of like forums. Communication is the biggest problem and the biggest issue that is raised in our 2018 forum, 2018 survey, and again in the 2022 survey. So it's imperative that we continue to work with our partners to improve this communication. And we have actually set up a joint working group with representatives from the local authority. And we actually have within PCF a communications team. And there's 4 of us who work on the communications that come out. So that's what content of the newsletter, the website, the forum details. And we're now working alongside the local authority's new communications officer, and also Emma Walker on the Live Well website. So we're going to set those meetings up to try and improve that. Okay. Relationships with Senkos. We realise that there's an opportunity now that we've come out of COVID to perhaps attend the Senko network groups so that they are aware of us and they know what we're doing, but also to try and get some more representation in the mainstream schools. There's lots of families out there in the mainstream schools. Hi guys, can we all just make sure we're on mute, please? Thank you. So yeah, that's something that we're hoping to do for the next year, is to develop that relationship with the Senko network. Focus groups, we've seen a great benefit of running focus groups over this academic year. We've run a number of them. And we'd like to continue to do this. And we're going to start this by doing a complex care focus group, which we're going to set up in September. So if you're interested in being part of that, then please let us know. We know that there's some work that needs to be done around families who have children with complex care, and we want to know what those issues are and how we can best support those families. So that's certainly something that we're going to be looking on doing for the next academic year. And we held, I'll come on to it in a minute, but we held a working parent one this academic year, and it was really useful. And we see the benefits of actually having those smaller kind of sessions. They're not recorded. They're just ones where we get together, we have an opportunity to chat about a specific issue and a specific agenda item. And you guys get to meet each other and share your views and opinions. Coffee events. We want to run some more kind of informal coffee events, and we're working quite closely with the Carers Trust. They are hosting regular events, and we will be attending those events across the region. But also we like to do some perhaps drop-in sessions too. And we were thinking about running 3 in some of the children's centres, one in Winsford, one in Chester, and one in Ellesmere Port. And that's, again, no strict agenda. It's just an opportunity for parents to kind of get together. So watch this space as soon as we manage to book the venues. But as I say, it's going to be at the children's centres. So once we manage to get the time and dates of those, keep an eye on our website, and our communications team will do a fantastic job communicating this out to you. And again, nice and informal, an opportunity for you to meet other parent carers. Working parents, we wanted to ensure that we continue to support them over 2022 and 23. We held a focus group to ask you guys, what you wanted to know about, and you told us that evenings between 7 and 8 p.m. online were best for you. But most of us have got through the witching hour of feeding the children, getting them in the PJs, if nothing else, and that was the time that you felt that would work for you. So we've scheduled one for next year. We've scheduled one for now. Doesn't mean to say that we won't be doing more. And we're also continuing to work with the local authority about how best to support our working families with childcare. And we appreciate that it's not an easy solution to this problem, but we will continue to raise your views, your points, your suggestions, and your concerns with them. So I know this is quite small, but we do have a printed version of this, which we'll be sharing with you. And obviously you can go onto our website and take a look at it. But this is what we're doing for next year. So we've got 3 in-person forums that we're going to do. The first in-person forum is going to be held in Chester, and that's in November. And the topics for that are mental health services and social care. And we haven't just put these topics out the air. These are things that you guys have told us that you want us to speak to you about. The next one is in March, and it's going to be in the Northwich Winsford venue. So again, as soon as we've nailed down the venues, we'll let you know. And that's going to be a review of services that are available and an opportunity for you to meet the professionals. So we did this a few years ago, just pre-COVID actually, where it was almost like an opportunity to speed date some of the professionals. So we'll be asking a number of professionals to come along. They'll have a stall and they'll be able to tell you what they do and how you can access their services and what the referral process is. So that's going to be held in March. And then in May, we're going to get Together Trust to come along and talk to you about mediation services and also the transition to adulthood process. This is something that we need to talk about on a regular basis, on an annual basis. And we know the IAS team also will be running a transition to adulthood event again next year. So it's making sure that you've got as much information as possible. And if you want to know something specific for any of these, then let us know ahead of time and we can make sure that the professionals are getting that covered in their presentations and we're asking them those questions. And then we're still running our virtual forums. So we've got a virtual forum planned in September, and that's about benefits and carers. So the Carers Trust are coming along to talk about that. And they're going to talk about some of the benefits that you can claim and the processes around that. And we also have feedback about people wanting to know about wills and trusts, about power of attorneys. So we have somebody to come along to talk to you about that as well. Again, all of these virtual forums will be recorded, and if you aren't able to make them, they will be on our website for you to watch back. We've got another one planned in January for social care, and that's including an explanation of direct payments. So again, there's been lots of questions and queries about direct payments. What are they? How do you claim them? What's the process? How do you get PAs? What do you need to do? What are your obligations as an employer? So we're getting somebody to come along and talk to you with regards to that. And the final one is in April, and that's a roadmap and an introduction to early years. So again, we've got the transition to adulthood, and we've also got the early years. So hopefully we're covering all areas of the journey, and we'll be getting the relevant people from early years to come along and present to you at that too. So that's what we're planning for next year. Now, excuse me, guys. So here is the formal part of our meeting that we have to do. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for the time being. And this is where we need to re-elect people. So but before I do that, I just wanted to let you know who's currently in each of those roles and who we're proposing if we can get seconders for that. So I'm currently chair, and the chair role is for 3 years, and 3 years is coming to an end. So we're proposing that we extend it for another 12-month period. It's been quite an odd one during COVID, so extending it for another 12-month period and review it next year. That's gone through the formal process of the steering group, but again, we're here to make sure that you guys are all happy with that. The lovely Rob Robinson has been my sidekick for the last 3 years, and he is quite rightly stepping down, and Vanessa Usai has said that she's happy to stand up and do that role. The treasurer has been held by Sarah, and she's going to continue. And Vanessa was doing the secretary role, and we now realise that actually all the minute taking and all that role of the actual secretary, Sarah has been doing it as part of her responsibilities as well. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now so I can see you all. I just want to see whether or not people, first of all, are happy. Can somebody second me to continue being as the role of chair? Oh, thank you. I can see at least one hand going up. That's brilliant. I only need one of you. Annika, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, people. That's great. And then can we have a show of hands if people are happy for Vanessa to take on the role of Vice Chair? That's a definite for me. There is a little reactions thing that you can put your hand up, raise hand, there you go. But brilliant, fantastic. And I would like, if I could all ask you just a favour, just to take yourselves off mute for a second. And can we all please just give Rob a round of applause for all the incredible work as Vice Chair. Thank you very, very much indeed, Rob. We really appreciate all the work that you've been doing over the last 3 years. It's incredible. And I know that we haven't lost you forever, and you'll still be there, and your wisdom will still be needed. But I can't thank you enough for everything that you've done. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jules. Can I just tell everybody who's attending that I do about a 20th or even a 50th work of the chair. She's just absolutely amazing and is totally responsible for a huge amount of progress that we've made. Anyway, appreciate you, thanks, and I'm looking forward to carry on, but with less time given to PCF.
That's fantastic, Rob. Thank you very much, and thank you for your kind words. So the next role is for Sarah to continue as treasurer. Can we have a show of hands for that, or a little raising of your raising hands? There we go. Brilliant. And then for her also to take on the role of secretary, formal role as secretary as well. Brilliant. Thank you very much, guys. So that is pretty much, hold on, just let me go back to sharing my screen for a second, share screen, and just do the last bit of the report, which is the conclusion. So as you can see, it's been an incredibly busy year this year, and I am incredibly proud of what we managed to achieve this year. The HM inspection of the local area was the fact that your voices were heard. It gave me a great sense of pride. So I was thrilled that your voices were heard, and I have immense gratitude for every single one of our PCF volunteers for doing what you do and getting your voices heard. And with over 500 of you taking the time to complete the survey and attend our forums, give us feedback, the school reps, the PCF, all of you have just done a fantastic job. So thank you very much indeed. Now we do need to continue to push on forward for our families, and we do need to make sure that your voices are heard, and we're making and affecting change. That's what it's all about. So we will continue to commit to deliver that for you for the next academic year. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now. And Vanessa, is there any questions in that chat box that you want me to go through?
Hi, Julie. No, we've just had a lovely comment from Sarah about all of the super stuff that the Deafness Support Network are doing over the summer, and also that they'd like to, engage with some of the coffee events and things like that. So that's great. I think you're already networking there through the third sector group, I believe. And yeah, I've just asked Sarah to send things across to us. Is that okay, Sarah?
That's fantastic. And we have got, yeah, if you wouldn't mind sending that through to us, that would be great. What we've done is we are waiting for some graphics to come out from the local authority about that, because we have collated all the summer provisions that people have shared with us. Haven't got it back as yet, but it is on my list to continue to chase. So Sarah, be able to send what we've done is we've directed them to your website, if that's okay. Brilliant. Okay, any more questions that people might have? Any comments people might want to make, or pretty much suggestions for next year? Is there? You feel free to take yourselves off mute if you want to. Annika, sorry, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say, well done, Jules. You're amazing. So thank you so much for leading us all so brilliantly.
And I do apologise for coughing throughout all of that presentation. So.
You need a good rest, probably.
Okay, well, that kind of brings our meeting really to a close. It's pretty much of a formal one this time, so it's something we had to go through, but I hope you've got a flavour of the work that's been done, and more importantly, what continues to be done for next year, and how we want to build and make it a stronger network, particularly with our third sector partners. and obviously continue to work with the local authority and the CCG with all the changes that are coming up. In terms of what's coming out that I'd like you to keep your eyes open for, we will be, as I say, putting together this response to the government's green paper, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And as I said, we will be sending it to our third party partners as well, for them to have a look at, and if they agree with the kind of overall comments that our families have been saying, then they are more than welcome to put their logo on it, and we'll do it as a joint return as well. So I will keep you all posted and let you know. Okay, that's everything from me, guys. I wanted to say thank you ever so much. Have a wonderful summer. Enjoy, take care of yourself in this heat. I didn't think I was going to be saying that a few weeks ago, but take care of yourself in this heat, and enjoy as much time as you possibly can with your families, and get as much rest as you can, which I know it could be an oxymoron for many of our families who've got their children home over the summer break. But, you know, do your best and enjoy the sunshine and take care of yourselves. We'll see you all in September. Thank you, guys.